to episode number 75 of the Cashing In on Creativity podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge, and today we are going to talk to Carleen Bland again, virtually, of course, and we're going to be talking about selling online, selling your work, what you need to do to get it set up, what kind of platforms you might need to, what things you have to watch out for, and should you even be selling your work online. So stay tuned, and we'll be back on the line with Carleen Bland. All right, everybody, we have Carleen with us in our virtual studio. How are we doing today, Carleen?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. So once we've solved all of our technical problems, we can now get on. We're going to talk about selling products online. So you sell any products online?
Well, I don't sell products as what do you call those iPhone covers and all that? Well, maybe I do. But mainly it's my artwork, right? But I have a couple of sites that I had put some of my artwork on, and then they can put them on mugs and whatnot.
Okay. So and maybe turn up your volume a little bit or get a little closer. I can hear you, but you're sounding a little far away. So maybe just make sure you're closer. So, okay. So do you use sites like Zazzle and Etsy and all that? Is that the kind of sites you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. I use Fine Art America and Image Kind.
Okay. And have they been good for you? Have they been good to?
I'm not driving my traffic on there. I think I uploaded to my photographs, of my work a while, and I'm not doing anything at all on it. I have done some sales, and they just come so I treat them as passive income,
Right.
But I'm not. It's not my me bread and butter sort of thing. But I think it can be. I think there's some people who continuously direct their traffic to go there, so they probably do a lot better. You need the time to kind of drive your traffic there, tell them about them.
Right. Yeah, it's people think if you set up a store that you can automatically just start selling stuff, and you can, but you need to still drive traffic. It's no better than your website or what have you. So you've used Zazzle, or what? I use Zazzle. What was the two that you said you use?
Image Kind and Fine Art America.
Okay.
Those I think is when you want to sell prints of your work or mugs and bed sheets and shower curtains, things like that. But just having your artwork online anywhere is going to help, right?
Yeah.
Casting your net.
Well, I just set up a Zazzle site, which is why I keep mentioning Zazzle, and I'm probably going to take it down. Here's why. I set it up for a T-shirt design for a Special Olympics event, and I do their shirt design. The last 3 years, I've done their T-shirt design, and I thought, okay, I'll set one up on a store online so that people can buy it ahead of time, and whatever money we make off the shirts, we would just give to them. Here's the problem, that by the time you have to do the shirt and mark it up and all of that, it comes out to about $50 a T-shirt, which is probably too much for a T-shirt. They have to ship it from, I don't know, California or wherever Zazzle is located. And I think at the end of the day, I was going to make $4 on each shirt, which I have to sell a lot of shirts to bring them any kind of significant money. So I'm not sure that it's going to work so well. I would rather people just order shirts and get them at the event, which is what they've been doing in the past, just selling them at the event. So so I'm not crazy about those sites. It looks cool to have your artwork on. It's just, I find that it's too expensive for most. Like a mug costs you $30. Like, I can understand if you're going to put it on and buy 2 for grandma or something, but I'm not sure you're not going to be able to sell enough of those, I think, to really make it worthwhile.
Right. But if you look at it as being just a sideline, just to create some passive income. But if you think of it also that you're tagging your name onto these sites that has great SEO.
Yeah.
And so you just getting your name out there, and there probably is a link back to your website, is there not?
Yeah, it depends how you set it up. You can certainly set one up where it goes back to your website. I think it depends on what people are trying to do. If you're trying to make a business where you actually sell a lot of product, and you're going to, give it to customers, let's say in your area, I would go and put my artwork on mugs and buy mugs at like a promotional place or something, and
Right.
just ship it to people as they need it. Yes, yeah, one like that mug is a great mug to have on. Uh, if you're going to do something like my books, I sell all of my books through Lulu or CreateSpace or Amazon, and those are great products to have as just, people can buy them. They get them shipped wherever, and the printing's done, so I don't have to touch any of that stuff. Once I've created the book, I put it online and people order as needed. I find for that kind of stuff, it's good. Um, Probably if you're selling your art, if you had prints, probably selling your prints, maybe going and getting a bunch printed off and either shipping them or having a generic print. Like I sell my cartoons online. I just started my cartoon store, which is
Mm-hmm.
give a shameless plug, brucescartoons.com. And that's all of my cartoons. But those are all digital downloads. So anything that's a digital download or something like that is great for online. Fine art is fine if it's prints. I don't know about you. Tell us about the fine art part. That, like, when people buy your painting, how do they get it? You ship it to them and all that?
Well, it depends on where they live. If they live in the States, I've shipped it to them. If it's local, if they live in Toronto, in the surrounding area, I have them come to the studio or I go drop them off.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
that's and like a traditional
Yeah.
local
Because
business, if you will.
yeah. Because I like to meet them and build a little bit of a relationship. And they're usually curious to see my studio. So
Yeah.
they make a trip out of it, make a little, it's kind of fun for us to meet each other and exchange the paintings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a great way of doing it. So I think a mix is good. I would probably sell my originals in the studio or something, and then prints online. Again, it seems to be working for you. You do very well. You get a lot of your clients. I would just watch a lot of the fraud that comes along with being online. If you are going to sell that way, figuring out a system as how do you vet if somebody's actually a person or just somebody scamming you, getting money and clearance and all of that ahead of time before you ship any product out, or that's you've got to really watch that. I think we both have horror stories. If I remember our last dinner conversation, of being someone who's tried to get online. I know for me was T-shirts and hats I had for my comic book series, and I had an author in Australia or a schoolmaster in Australia
Yeah.
apparently sent me an email, want to order 700 hats or something, and I was to find out that when I looked at the email, he could not spell. Somebody who's a professor should probably have good spelling, and he didn't have, and all of that. And then it got to the point where they wanted me to take extra money, and that's a money laundering system, and that's a lot of that is going online, so you have to be careful.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you can spot those.
Yeah. So how do you accept payments? What have you found to be one of the better ways of accepting payments for
Well,
online transactions?
now I don't have e-commerce on my website. It does cost a certain amount per month for you to have e-commerce on your site. But I find that, and why I don't have it on there is because I find that I usually have to have a conversation with the client, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't want them to just sort of hit buy now and then find that there are other hurdles that may not allow the transaction to go through.
Right.
So by the time you're in exchange emails and talk, they usually say, "I will do an e-transfer,
Yeah.
interact transfer, or I'm gonna come." Next fact, I like to meet them and have them come or meet them somewhere, and we just exchange payment then, through a check or cash or whatever.
So do you use your website more for showing them what's available, and then once they've chosen the preferred painting, then the contact starts, or are they able to press that button like you just mentioned and buy that piece of without talking to you first?
No, yeah, no, they cannot. Um, I do have a buy now, but there is no e-commerce on it.
Right. Okay.
Mostly they do email me about it. They say, "I'm interested in that piece, and do you still have it?" And so that way I get to meet them. I find, yeah, I think mostly if it's a big piece of painting for a few $100s, people do want to, you know, s- have a little conversation with you first, anyways. And what is what is the shipping charge? Like, for example, some guy who saw my painting on Facebook, and then he messaged me and said that he would like that piece. But when he found out how much the shipping was going to be, he changed his mind, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So, most people do like to have some kind of exchange of information first, anyways.
Yeah. Now, do you so when they press that buy button with yours, where does it go? Does it
Uh,
send that does it send you an email? Does it send them to PayPal? Where does it go?
that is a very good thing. Maybe I should look into that and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Send you an email. So then you're starting the conversation. I'm interested in this painting, and now you have a place to start.
yes.
Because if you have it, where does it go now? Where does it go?
Don't really know where
It doesn't go anywhere. So don't buy. Okay, I'm not gonna say don't buy. Just to make sure you check your buy now button. So a buy now button, and this is good. This is the reason I asked is that a lot of people want that buy now button to just buy now. And when you say buy now, it's in online terms that means that we are going to make payment. So that should go to a PayPal or
Right.
Stripe account or whatever. But if you want to have that conversation first, the best way to hook it up is to have it as an email link. Instead, you could still put the buy now or interest now or I'm interested in this painting. Click the link and it sends you an email with the to start the conversation. Then you reach back out to that person because you
Right.
need that spot anyway, as you're saying, to vet them and make sure they're real.
Yeah. So I do have a spot right on my website, a couple of places where they can send me an email pretty easily, but I have not thought of linking up my buy me option to that message box.
Right, right. The other option would be for it to go to, let's say, a PayPal account, but then you have to know. Well, the problem with, and this is a big issue with purchasing paintings online, is once someone buys that painting, you have to have your shipping and all that figured out, and it's not always easy depending on where you're shipping to. So, like if I'm selling my book online, I could put my shipping at $10, let's say, and it's going to be pretty well standard across Canada for $10. But a painting could be different sizes. I know I've shipped to England before when I was doing my paintings, and there's a whole different tax port there. If you're going outside of Canada, you may have border issues. So unless you can figure all that out, so because once someone pays, it's hard to go back to them and ask them for more money for shipping or what have you. You have and plus packaging, right? If you're creating a painting, that might have to be included, and that's a big expense, right?
Yeah. So I have, I think I put on my website, I kind of Googled, find out research as to how much the approximate price is for sending a particular size painting. So
Right.
I said, to US and to Canada is X amount.
Right.
To other countries, it'll have to please contact me. So I'll have to go to the post office to find out how much it would cost anyways for that particular size. But for the states in here, I've just put in a general amount that I hope would cover most scenarios.
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay.
make it complicated, right?
It is. It is. It's not a one size fit, and that's why I always suggest maybe it's not the best thing to have for something like fine art. It may not be the best to have a pay now button where they just pay first and then, unless all your paintings are roughly the same size. I know yours aren't, but if everything was 11 by 14 and you had the shipping figured out and included, and you knew how you're going to package it to send, then yeah, you might be able to get away with a PayPal. They pay $500, let's say, and it includes all of that. But I think if you're doing different sizes, you might have more of a headache on your hands that way. What I found, we use in our business Stripe. So if there's also Square, which is one I use more for events. So that's great if you're selling in person at an event, something like that. For selling online, I use PayPal. We use Stripe, which is a popular payment gateway. And you will need some kind of gateway. Like I say, I always caution people when they say, "Oh, I'm going to sell fine art online." I go, "Do you really want to sell fine art online?" It's a difference between displaying your fine art online and selling fine art online. Would you agree?
Between selling and displaying?
Yeah, there's a difference. If you just want to show your artwork online and then have
Right.
someone phone you with interest or send you an email, that's fine. You can do that on any website. You don't need e-commerce for that. But if you want to start selling your stuff online, you either need e-commerce, which
Yeah.
will help with the shipping variants and stuff, or you need PayPal or some way of accepting the payment, right?
Yeah. You want your website to be able to send people to. If you meet somebody somewhere along, anywhere, and you want to be able to say, do you want to see more of my artwork? Go to my website, hand them a card.
Yeah.
They have some idea as to what your artwork looks like.
Right.
And it also shows that you're being professional. You're not just starting out. So,
Yeah.
and it also, I think, if you are selling on other sites, whatever it may be, hopefully it will funnel them into your website, and hopefully you do have some kind of catch click funnel thing that will capture their email. Maybe sign up for your newsletter.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a website, you have no way of doing that.
Right. So websites first, displaying your work, and then setting up that, and make sure you know where your buy now button's going to. Great answer. So how did you spot a counterfeiter? We're going to end this very soon because we're going to run out of time on this recording because of our difficulties. But how do you spot counterfeiters online? Have you ever had someone trying to contact you?
Well, I've had a friend who actually, unfortunately did fall into this trap where somebody contacted them, asked them, I want to buy a painting and it's $300. Okay, I love it. I'll send you a check. And they send a check of $3,000. And they say, oops, I sent you, I wrote an extra zero. I meant it for this other place, but I sent it to you. Oh, please send me the difference back. So you send them a check for $2,700 because you're, honest, kind, good person. And you did that before you actually deposited their check because you think, it should be fine. He sounded just great and, honest and blah, blah. And meantime, he has, cashed your check and you, haven't. And hopefully you haven't also sent the painting as well. So, like that is, have you heard of that scam?
Yeah. I always put an extra zero on my checks. That's a real problem I have all the time.
Right.
If anything, I'm leaving one off. I'm not putting an extra one on. So, yeah.
Right. So, anyways, we all know about that scam. But just before Christmas, I had this one guy who emailed me and said, I noticed my wife looking at your paintings on your website and she seems to love your paintings. Can you send me, and then this was the silly thing, can you send me some paintings with their prices? And I'm saying, well, which painting do you think your wife likes? And he said, well, I don't know, but just send me a whole list, and with the prices, money is not a problem. And that kind of like, anyways, I discontinued that chat with him because, if he was that busy to look into the website himself, if it was a big CEO or, then he should be having a personal assistant contact me. If he's too busy to try and find out his wife's preferences, anyway, so I didn't want to spend, more time just carry on the conversation with him. And I just stopped and he never, yeah. So, when it sounds a little bit funny,
He didn't know his wife's preferences because he only deals with his girlfriend. Probably that's probably how that worked out. So, anyway, I think that was great. I think that was some good information to get people started if they're looking to sell online. And we will end this one here. Thanks very much for being here.